Hello and welcome to The Court Jester, the podcast that takes you on a wild ride through the most scandalous stories of the Middle Ages. I am Nathaniel, medievalist, storyteller, and your host. Today's story is by Enguerrant, and yes, we will say his name out loud because we don't often have them. And before we dive into the story, the usual warning applies. It was written several centuries ago, when the world was a different place, and consent was not a concept. So brace yourselves for a story of this type today. It's perfectly fine if that's not your cup of tea, but if you're curious and you can enjoy a medieval story in context, then sit tight. We are about to meet one horny miller. When your job is telling stories, you should refrain from speaking ill and only tell people your best ones. So here is my story. At Arleux, where the crossings are, there lived a miller, a certain Jacquemart. He was a jolly man and clever too. The mill he owned was in Arleux. There they milled wheat for flour, together with Moses, his hired hand. It was a Wednesday morning, and they were at the mill working hard, and people from many towns had come to mill their grain, donkey loads full of wheat they'd brought. Mary was a young girl who came to the mill with her donkey and her wheat, waiting for her grain to be milled, and hailed the miller. "Hey there, Jacquemart, would you grind up my wheat, please, and quickly, because I have to get home soon to prepare my father's dinner. He's working in the fields today." Jacquemart said, "Sister, take a seat. You will have to wait for a bit. We have loads to mill today, and there's a lot of people ahead of you in the queue, so if I can, I will get to yours today. But if I don't, and you end up stranded here tonight, I'll put you up at my own house, so don't you worry. My wife will take very good care of you." Now Moses and Jacquemart kept milling all day, and eventually all the people had gone home, back to their towns where they've come from. But Moses and Jacquemart had both the same idea: to seduce young and pretty Mary and spend the night in her arms. So Moses called to his master. "Sir," he said, "I think there's not much water in the brook. You'll have to leave work now. The mill cannot turn any more." "Well, if that's the case," said Jacquemart, "then there's nothing else for us to do here. So let's shut down for the day." The sun was low, and Mary was getting very upset, and her eyes grew teary, and she started crying. "What can I do now?" she said. "I'm stranded here. I'm sure that I will die if I have to go home walking all night. I think I'll lose my mind." So Moses spoke up and reassured her. "Listen, lovely," he said. "You'll go home tonight with me and my boss, and they'll put you in the spare bed, and you'll be fine. You will not sleep in the cold, and you will not have to walk back to your house. But it's really not possible for us to do any more milling today." Jack jumped up and said, "Yes, absolutely. This is going to be a really fine evening, actually. We're going to have bread and tarts and meat and fish and wine and whatever else you like. Just make sure that my wife doesn't know you're not my relative. We're going to tell her that you are my niece, and you will sleep right outside my room, and I will sleep inside my room with my wife until I have to go back to work in the morning." Now Mary suspects that something is off, and she has no desire for Jacquemart, none whatsoever. So she's starting to plan as they're going back to town, all three of them, and go back to the miller's dwelling. The miller called out his wife. "Lady," he said, "do you think we have enough food for one more?" "More than enough, yes," said his wife. "Who is she?" "Oh, she is my cousin. Receive her like an honoured guest, would you?" "With pleasure, sir," his wife said. "Sweet child, come in, you're welcome." And so they dined on bread and wine and meats and pies and fish and everything else you can imagine. And they had wine, loads of it, and after they'd drunk all they wished, they made a bed for her. And she was given a feather quilt, comfy and deep, and fine sheets and a warm fur cover. And then the miller called over to his wife. He said, "Lady, I'd like to go off to the mill now. Tomorrow is going to be an early start, and we will have sacks upon sacks upon sacks of grain, and I'd rather make all the preparations tonight so that I can get started early tomorrow." "This sounds like a very good idea," said his wife. "So yes, go. It sounds like you should be doing that tonight." So the miller leaves, with Moses in tow, and the girl stays back. And as she finds herself alone with the miller's wife, she starts crying. Now, says the wife, what's the problem? Didn't we just have a lovely night? What's missing? What makes you cry? Oh, dear lady, said the girl, I have nothing to complain about tonight, but my heart is in great pain, and I don't know if I dare tell you what's wrong, but I really, really want to. Go on then, said the wife. Hold nothing back. Confide in me. We'll deal with it, whatever that may be. So, this is what happened, says the girl. I came in early today to grind my flour, and your husband told me not yet, and then he made me wait, and then others came in, and he made me wait some more, and then suddenly, as I was waiting, he closed the mill, because Moses told him that the water was low in the stream, and then they had me sitting there such a long time, and it was too late, and I couldn't go home, and he's offered hospitality, because basically he wants to sleep with me, and if you don't help me, I don't know who will. Dear girl, said the wife, calm down. You shall escape what he intends, because this is what we're going to do. You are going to sleep in my bed, close the door, and sleep alone. And I will go in your bed and hide there, so when he comes back and sneaks into the bed intending to do things to you, he will be doing them to me, as he is supposed to. Why, lady, thank you, said the girl. And so they went to the lady's room, and the girl got into bed, and the woman came back, went to the door, left it ajar, and turned to the place where the girl was supposed to be sleeping. She got in bed and prayed for a good night. And soon enough, here come Moses and the miller back from the mill. They both walk down the road, spring in their step, both with the same thing in their mind. So Moses addressed his boss on the way and said, Sir, would you mind making a deal with me? I have been raising this piglet for almost half a year, so it's big and plump by now. And I swear to God, you can have my pig if you let me have that girl. On the spot, Jacquemart says, yeah, you have a deal. Just let me go first. So I will go. You wait for me in this marker stone. I'll go back home. I'll be with her. And then when I'm done, I'll come back and get you, and you can go have your turn. Perfect, said Moses. So Jacquemart the miller went straight into the house. He found the door open and stepped inside, shut the door, and went to the bed beside the hearth, and lay by his wife's side, thinking it was the girl. And he starts kissing her and hugging her, and 5 times he made love to her, hanging around her like a bear in heat. But now it's after midnight, and the miller's thinking, Moses will be tired of waiting, so I should go get him, I think. So he tells his wife, I must go. Do not let it upset you, though it's still early. I will come to you again tonight. Go with God, said the woman, and then come back to me whenever. So Jack gets up and gets out of bed and finds Moses, who was tired of waiting and was leaning against the fence, and he shouts, come on, I want to earn that piglet, so your turn now. I did it 5 times in a row. Let's see what you can do. What shall I say? Says Moses as he makes his way to the house. Oh, you don't have to say anything, says Jacquemart. Go straight to the bedside and lie down by her side and do whatever you have to do, and she'll never know the difference between me and you. So Moses does as instructed, goes to the bed, gets undressed, gets under the covers, lies next to the wife, and does her another 5 times in quick succession. And then he climbs out right away, gets dressed, and disappears. The woman for a fact believes that this man was her husband, who now just had her 10 times in a row. Moses, meanwhile, goes back to Jack and says, well, I did it 5 times as well. Ha, says Jacquemart. Did she seem to mind? Not at all. And I think I owe you a piglet. And the 2 of them happily went away. As soon as it was full day, the girl woke up, got dressed, and went to find the wife. She thanked her for her hospitality, and the wife said, my pretty child, I'd say you missed out on a wild night, but 10 times my husband took me, with delight as well. And I have to say, I'm not at least indebted to him, because he thought it was you he was betting, but, well, I guess, says Mary, you can thank me for it then. And she didn't stay for 1 more minute, disappearing back to her village as fast as she could. And soon the miller arrives, who's bringing the piglet he's acquired. Moses is coming with him, and the miller's wife sees them strutting and arriving in the house, and rushes to her husband and cries, "You stinking lady killer, for 14 years I've been married to you. 14 years, no matter what I try to do, for all my hugs and all my kisses and all my playing along with every stupid whim you've had, not any night could I entice you to possess me even twice. For that girl's sake I was possessed 10 times last night, and with what zest, what vigor, what motivation! I owe this bounty to the girl you assume to lay with." Now Jacquemart finds out he's cuckolded beyond all doubt, and he is not amused. And Moses said, "So, do I get my piglet back? Because it looks like I didn't sleep with a girl." "What the devil?" said Jacquemart. "You spent the night with my wife. You laid with her, and had your hands all over her, and had your way with her, and you want to keep your piglet? No way on earth you're keeping that pig." "Well, I'll have it," Moses says, "because it was agreed that I would be with a girl, not with your wife, so I'll sue you and let the courts decide." And you know what? He did. He went straight to the magistrate, who fixed a date for a trial, and when the time came round, Moses and Jacquemart came to court to win the piglet in dispute. First Moses stated his case and laid all the details out of how the cuckold Jacquemart reneged on him. "For though we were agreed," he said, "that I would lie with the maid, he put me up with his wife instead, whom I will not accept as my fee. He will have to make it good to me. If the assessors find that this is a binding agreement, then let them all agree." Then the miller stood up and said, "Gentlemen, I am cuckolded beyond all doubt, which really ought to be enough. You can be sure I take it rough, and I didn't like this happening to my wife, and his piglet is not worth that price." The magistrate took a minute to stop laughing, but eventually managed to address the both of them. "Would you hear," he said, "how we judge this case?" "Yes," both of them said. "Let the pig be returned to Moses," said the magistrate, "unless Jacquemart wants to provide the maiden that he promised." Jacquemart, sighing, handed over the piglet. "I'd buy it from you," he said, "for 30 shillings and put together a feast, because, no matter what, I'm still a cuckold, so what else is left to do?" The judge proceeded to invite the squires, the knights, the damsels, and the lovely ladies in the land, and saw to it that the pig was eaten amid much revelry and feasting. What did we learn from this? That none should seek his fellow creature's harm in the things he does or says. He will get the worst of it always, as did the miller of Arleux, who was humiliated through his own fault. And you know what? It served him right. Enguerrant, the good cleric who was born in Oisy, has written down this tale for us, lest it should pass into oblivion and so be lost. For by it you're all bidden never to let it cross your mind to do folks harm of any kind. So ends the Miller of Arleux. And if you enjoyed the story and would like some more, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and leave a review for the Court Jester, wherever it is that you get your podcasts, and tell everyone you know about how great this podcast is. And lastly, if you'd like to support the Court Jester and help me get a sense of achievement, head over to Patreon. For as little as £1, you'll get access to bonus episodes, extra material, and the warm and fuzzy feeling of being part of this nonsense. Links to everything and to my sources are below. Thank you all for listening. Until next time.